right, and I see Madam President is with us. Andrea, we have over 50 delegates with us already, so we are ready to begin whenever you are ready to begin.
Okay, thank you.
It's so great that our guests are for Stadium.
Okay, so,
Is that close to you?
okay. Good evening, everyone. And before we go any further, I'm just gonna ask if you make sure that you mute yourself, and as we go along, if you could put your hand signal up if you need to speak. Also, I would ask of you if you're, I can see most of the names there, but for anyone that might not, for attendance purpose, if you're able to change it a bit so we could get the name and also your union if possible. Thank you very much. And Sister Jinky, I'm gonna turn over to you for the harassment statement before we begin.
Evening, brothers and sisters. This is our harassment statement. Mutual respect, cooperation, and understanding are strongly held principles of our trade union movement. We will neither condone nor tolerate harassing or discriminatory behavior that creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment, and that undermines the dignity or self-esteem of an individual. An injury to one is an injury to all. Speech or conduct which is racist, sexist, homophobic, or discriminatory in any way is unacceptable to trade unionists and only serves to divide us. Our policies and practices must reflect this commitment to equality as we work for justice and dignity in our workplace, our unions, and our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. And then over to Brother Jeff for the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Andrea. Good evening, all. We are meeting on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, which was subject to the Dish with One Spoon Treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Thanks. Let's have a great meeting, all.
Thank you. Okay, so Susan, I don't know if you did it before I got on, but is it possible for you just to go through the process for the Zoom?
Sure, thanks very much. And Andrea, you did remind the folks who were already with us that we do ask people to put yourself on mute unless you're going to be speaking, just to reduce any background noise. When you want to raise your hand to be acknowledged during the statement debate, then you go down to the reaction function at the bottom of your screen and look for the little icon that says raise hand, and that'll be raised in the order in which you raise it. We invite you also to use the chat function for comments or discussion if you want. We plan to turn it off during the 9.5-minute 150th anniversary video, just to reduce the opportunity for little dark spots to appear in front of the video. And I think that's it. Enjoy the meeting. Back over to you, Madam President.
Thank you. All right, so I have to do this because I really don't want to leave anyone out, and I think it's really important if everyone is aware of who's on with us this meeting. If you are here, okay, so yeah, thank you. And so if you're here for the first time, a first-time delegate, can you raise your hand with the hand signal so we can see who's here for the first time? Okay, I see Philip. Okay, so let's see. So Philip, I'm gonna give you just a few seconds just to introduce yourself, your name and your union.
I'm Philip, last name Singh, and I'm from COPW Scarborough Local 602. I was a staff steward as well, and now I'm involving with quite a bit of local committee stuff, also in the company's health and safety committee as well. I'm trying to learn more on the Labor Council, and I heard a lot of good things.
Okay, welcome, Philip.
Thank you.
Okay, and the next person here, without messing the name, I'm not sure if it's Zayan. Sorry if I do. Can you say your name and your union?
My name is Xiaoye Wang. I'm from Local 561, Seneca College. This is my first time to attend the meeting. Actually, it's my union president recommend me to attend the meeting to learn more, so that I can better represent my members. Thank you.
Welcome, and you're at the right place. You're amongst activists, and I hope you come back. It's not your last meeting. Exciting place to be. Susan?
Yes, I believe that Nadia Montesano had her hand up earlier as well.
Okay, Nadia, where are you?
Sorry, yes. My name is Nadia Montesano. I'm local president for 5111. I'm looking forward to hearing what the Labor Council has for us tonight and for future, because I will be here for every other meeting from now on. So get used to me. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Okay, welcome, Nadia. Debbie?
Hi there. My name is Debbie Mohammed, and I'm from USIPI, from York University. I'm staff there, and I was invited to be a delegate with the Labor Council, and I'm very excited to be here. It's my first night. I'm here to listen, to learn, and contribute as best I can.
Wonderful. Welcome again.
Thank you.
All right. I'm just checking, make sure I don't miss anyone. All right. Thank you.
Okay, I'll write down what I'm saying. Aha.
All right. Okay. So before we go any further, I just want to let you know, make sure you make a note of it, because I don't want someone saying that they tried to get on the next meeting and that didn't happen. So we know most of you, and I want to say all of you, whatever way that you can, get involved in the election that's coming up, June 2nd election. And with that, we're shifting our June delegates meeting. So the June meeting will be Tuesday, June 7th. We want to see you back. I think we will have a lot to talk about after the June election, and to make plan moving forward for the next 4 years after that. So make a note of it. I'm sure we'll send a reminder out, but just to let you know that the delegates meeting is on Tuesday, June 7th. All right. Thank you. Okay. Then we did send out the minutes for from our last meeting. And so I hope you got a chance to review that minute. And we are going to take the minutes for a vote. So before I do that, if I could get a motion to approve the minutes, would be great. That's April 7th, 2022 minutes. So I see Brother Jeff and I see Michael Butler. Thank you. Thank you very much. And with that, we are going to ask for the poll to vote on.
It's failing to launch on my side. Skylar, can you launch it?
It looks like it's already launched. 1 second, I'm going to try again.
Okay. Okay, there you go.
Thank you very much. So we see even the virtual stuff is tired. Okay, what happened with it? Is it gone? I'm not seeing it again.
Hold on, just give me a second. It's just telling me to share results. It's not launching it.
It came up for a bit and it's gone. So.
Oh, here we go.
All right. Okay, so we will be voting on the motion to support. Yes, no, or abstain. Okay, so it is approved. Thank you very much, Skylar. Okay, and next for credential report, Brother Galan.
Yes, Madam President, good evening. Good evening, everyone. For the credential report for May 5th, we one to report OPSU Local 552, one delegate.
Okay.
Nice to move.
Okay, thank you. And we are going to approve. So a motion to accept Brother Galan's report. I see Jane. And Brother Miles, thank you. Okay. Can we, is a poll there?
Skylar, I still can't, thanks, Skylar.
Okay, thank you. So it's approved. All right. So we're gonna move over to any strike or lockout report? Strike or lockout report?
Hi, this is Jay Stoddy from Leuna Local 183.
Oh, okay. There's.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead. I see Brother Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. I will. He's on the phone, so I will, if you don't mind. Go ahead.
Hi. Yes, this is Jay Stoddy from Leuna Local 183. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. We are currently in a strike with 6 different sectors: high-rise forming, self-leveling flooring, carpet and hardwood installers, low-rise framing, house framing, and railings. Strike started on May 1st. We have a total combined of about 15,000 members confined to the GTA. The primary issue is money. Sorry, this is my first strike report, so I'm not sure what else to add.
You're doing okay. You're doing okay, brother. When did you go out on strike?
We went out on May 1st.
Okay.
And it's the residential sector, so there is that 45-day limitation on the right to strike that is covered under the Labor Relations Act. So all strikes must cease, and any outstanding collective agreements are sent to mandatory and binding final arbitration.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your report. I know you said it's your first time, and I just want to let you know that your struggle is our struggle, and everyone that's on is hearing from you, and we'll be keeping close attention to what's happening, and whatever we can do to support, then we're here. And I'm speaking on behalf of the other delegates that's here as well.
Thank you. Really appreciate the support.
Okay, so I see someone put in the chat asking if there's any way other locals can help. Is there any support that you're looking for at this point?
At this point, I think we're okay. We've had pretty good earned media pickup on the strike. Obviously, in the GTA, housing is a newsworthy item, and because this strike affects that, there's been a lot of media pickup.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of outside support or support from other locals, I think we're okay right now. The job sites on the high rise are shut down, so we actually don't have picket lines there. And on the low rise, the sites are very fluid, and the picket lines are rotating. So it's really hard to send out a schedule where people can come and join the picket line to show their support, because we're constantly kind of moving around.
Okay. Okay. So keep in touch. Let us know.
That's a lie. I can hear it in your voice.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Brother.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So I'm back to you, Brother Jeff, and then prayer.
Thank you. I'm happy to report that IBW Local 2029, there are about 95 electrical workers down at Union Station on the tracks. They went out on strike on April 20th. They went back to work on Wednesday, May 4th with a tentative deal. I think they are sending any outstanding issues to binding arbitration. They haven't had a benefit increase since 2015, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of them. On behalf of the IBW and Local 2029, thank you to all our comrades who offered help on the picket line, gave us a thumbs up, beeped the horn and everything else. That meant a lot to the folks that were out on strike, and they're back to work, so it's a good news thing. Thank you, comrades.
Thank you very much. Brother Gallant.
Yeah, just our brother Jason that just reported there from Luna. Yeah, good luck. Our local was out on strike 3 years ago for first time, I think, in 29 years. And just reporting now, I know a lot of the building trades are still in negotiations. I think there's some going to be voting tonight, or you might be joined shortly with other building trades, Brother Jason. And we will be having a Local 30 for ICI. We'll be having a strike or a ratification vote, I think it's May 14th. So we'll be wondering what's going to happen there provincial wise too. So good luck, Jason, and congratulations, Brother Irons, on everything going well for the electrical workers.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I hope I didn't miss anyone else.
I don't see any other hands up, and don't hear anybody speaking.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have another delegates here that will be giving a quick report on what's happening within the union. Brother Guled Warsami, president of Unite Here Local 75, and he is here to address the issue, what's happening, the raid in his union. And maybe some of you already, depends on if you're seated with the OFL or CLC, you might have some of that report, but he's here tonight to address that as we look at ways of how we can stand in solidarity.
Thank you, Sister Andrea, Madam President. And I'm not going to be very long. I know many sisters and brothers heard my report the last couple of times. Sisters and brothers, as you guys know, Unite Here Local 75 few years back terminated many organizers, 16 of them, because there were a lot of accusations of sexual harassment, discrimination, and the likes. And the local went to a trusteeship. Those organizers, on the eve that Unifor left the Labor Congress, they joined Unifor. And the main reason Unifor left the Labor Congress was to raid Unite Here Local 75. And this is back in 2019. So since then, those raids have happened, and many of you have contributed to our wins and our success. Unifor, they were raiding as of last year, but realized that they were sold a bag of lies. Those same organizers now, Unifor got rid of them. We got hit hard by the pandemic. March 2020, when the province declared the closure, we lost over 90% of our members overnight. 95% of our members were laid off. As we were struggling that and keep fighting the employers to make sure we have recall rights, to make sure we have benefits, those guys who left Unifor and Unifor let go, they joined this Quebec-based union, CSN, one of the federations. And now those guys, since last year, as we are getting ready to bargain a new contract at the Royal York, which is expired at the beginning of this month, they've been raiding. They've been confusing the members, lying to them, promising them that they're going to get them $5 more, and all sort of things. Unfortunately, some of our members have had some relationship with those guys who left Unite Here Local 75 and signed the card. We are in the midst of that raid. We just got the decision from the board that there is going to be a vote at the Royal York next week, Tuesday to Thursday. We are very grateful and appreciate the statement from Toronto York Region Labour Council and the OFL condemning raids. One of the most frustrating things as an organizer, as a president, is the timing of the open periods if you are in any of these situations, 3 months before the contract expires. As we were gearing up for a contract fight, making sure members are strong, putting demands on the table, as cost of living has been going up and up. And this is a very tactic of the boss. When you have an open period 3 months before your contract expires, it really weakens the workers. It really weakens the members. So that's where we are. Unfortunately, bargaining was going. We had to cancel 3 days because of all this nonsense that this Quebec-based union is bringing to the Royal York. As always, we are happy that we are an affiliate, and we're going to win again. But my message to all of us is we're going to have to stand up. An attack on one of us is an attack to all of us. Thank you all. I know the OFL put a call for any affiliate that can help, that we might need assistance with the votes. We have over 800 members at the Royal York. Is the biggest hotel in our local. And we will have that vote next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Madam President, that's my report.
Thank you. And I'm going to turn over to Brother Abdi.
Thanks, Madam President. Sisters and brothers, comrades, I really discussed a lot of what CSN doing. We all remember the hospitality industry was among the hardest hit industries in COVID. When the COVID almost finishing and we see light through the tunnel, a union come from Quebec who is not affiliated to CLC, raid one of the local CLC affiliates unions. It's very bad. And that they will not stop here. They already tried other unions and they failed. This time they're trying Unite 75. Who's next, we don't know. At the time that we, the Labour Council, Toronto Labour Council, OFL and CLC, are fighting for the rights of the workers during these elections, fighting to have a decent workplaces that base decent wages and decent sick times, fighting for government not to be re-elected, to see another union come from outside to confuse the workers who are in the middle of negotiating. trading only weakens the families and workers that affiliate there. And the boss is happy today that the workers of Royal York are confused. So sisters and brothers, this is the time that we come together. This is the time we should not sit on the sidelines, because CSN will not stop here. We'll read the next one, and we will see more other unions that are not affiliated to CLC that will come to our territories where we are fighting to our lives for workers' rights, when we are fighting for its government not to re-elect. So this is the time, sisters and brothers, and I encourage all the affiliates to give all the help they can to Unite 75. Thanks, Madam President. Back to you.
Thank you very much. I see Brother Alim and then Chris.
So good evening, all. I want to just go back a bit, because when Unite 75 was being raided back by Unifor, there was a threat on our local as well, HU Local 113. I don't want to go too far back into history, but the thing I want to touch on, which I think is very important right now, if we look at our sisters and brothers just south of us, we're seeing groups like Amazon, Starbucks. With the austerity that's happening right now, so many people are trying to unionize because they see the goals in having a trade union represent them. Better wages, pension, benefits, paid sick days, things like this. So right now, when people are looking and starving to be organized, I think it's really important that we as the labor movement send a strong message that, look, our goal is to organize, but organize the unorganized. There is no good when it comes to raiding. So I just want to say that I'm in full support of this, but we really need to concentrate on organizing the unorganized and sending a strong message. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Brother Chris?
Good evening. I would like to wholeheartedly support the motion as we did on the executive board. How dare this group do this? I wouldn't even call whatever CSN a union. They're not a union. They're an association of troublemakers as far as I'm concerned. There's ways to do things and there's ways not to. And what you don't do is do this, come in and try to attack people when they're vulnerable. We've all been hit in this industry, in this city, and in this industry, the entertainment business and the hospitality business, massively. And now they're coming in to pick the low-lying fruit, as we learn in labor school. How dare they? So I say we fight them with every inch of power that we have, and we tell them, go away. I know they tried this personally. I know they tried this with corrections in OPSU. They got their hat handed to them there. So I say we do the same thing here, and we tell them you're not welcome in our city and you're not welcome in our movement. If you want to join the labor movement, do what we all done. We join the CLC and we join the councils and we join the federations and we do it properly. And if the workers there want to belong to another union, there's options for them. But this is not the way to do it. So I wholeheartedly support this, and I say let's hand their hat back to them and tell them to get across, go home, and you're not welcome here in our city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, okay, so I think that all the hands are down. So I agree with you. And before I ask Brother Abdi to call the motion, just to remind everyone that even now that election is on our mind, and before this, we've been fighting around for a stronger labor law. And we also acknowledge that we need more members, we need power. We need power to take on the boss. And this is not the way to trade off the same worker over and over, or recycle the same worker. There's thousands of workers in our city that need to have representation. And this is the time for us to do that, to build strength within our union, not to continue dismantling and leaving loophole for the boss to continue to cheat the workers because of this kind of destruction. So, I'm in support, and I'm going to ask Brother Abdi to call the motion.
Sister, I call on the, okay, I have. Sister, I don't have the wording. Can you put
Okay.
it up? Sister
Oh,
Susan,
okay.
check it.
Susan, you can put it back again, please. Okay.
Yeah. Therefore, the Executive Board of the Toronto and York Regional Labor Council recommends that we call on the leadership of CSN to declare an immediate and absolute cessation to all raiding of Unite Here, Local 75 at the Royal York Hotel. We encourage all affiliates to condemn the raiding at the Royal York Hotel and take action in solidarity with Unite Here, Local 75. We
Okay.
move this motion and Chris seconded.
Thank you. Okay. And the poll is up. Okay. Thank you. This is approved. Yes. And I'm just gonna put it extended again with what the speakers are saying, how serious this is, and we have to stand up and protect our own. Doesn't matter if they're across the border or wherever and they're attacking our own, we have to stand up. And with that, I'm gonna ask for you, if you like to sign on to this statement, please let us know. You can put your information in the chat, or please feel free to call Susan or Jennifer and let us know before we send this off to CSN. This is also, it's OFL, the CLC, and the Labor Council. If your union would like to sign on to it, please let Susan or Jennifer know before we send it off. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brother Goulet.
Sister Andrea, before my last word, I want to thank our president, Sister Andrea Babington, who twice already came to the Royal York in support of Unite Here Local 75 and talked to many of our members and brought the message of solidarity to our members. Thank you all for your support.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. And I guess last year when we kick off the 150 years celebration and of our journey, of workers' journey, and now as we are slowly heading into our 151st, I just want us to spend some time tonight, maybe 10 minutes tonight, just to share a video of some of the our own views and of that 150th, what that looked like, and really get us ready to go into the next year of taking on the struggles and to remember the gain that's there as well. So I'm going to ask, I think it's, is that Skylar or Susan would put the video on? And just to say that you can see that we have a lot to learn from the 150 year of struggle. Our fight, those fights, they are not new. A lot of these fights and what we're talking about now, they're not new. Our victories, we sometimes don't really look back. We take on the fight, whether it's in our union or in the community. And I always say, we never stop to acknowledge or pat ourselves on the back, but it's a lot of victory regarding the struggle as well. And we have defeat. That's what makes us stronger. And I hope you are, you like me along the way. We also gonna try to find joy in these struggles. We need to embrace those struggles. That's what makes us stronger. As we start to wrap up our victory, I'm gonna invite you to watch the 9 minutes video that we plan to show you tonight.
But it all amounts to nothing if together we don't stand. There is power in a union.
It's not easy having your birthday in a lockdown.
So instead, we created a virtual launch which showcased our 150 years of struggle, history, and rich working class culture.
We are in the dish with one spoon territory. Our story began on the land of Indigenous communities and has been forged with those who have come from around the world as immigrants or refugees to build Canada's largest urban centre. For a century and a half, working people have organized collectively around a vision of economic and social justice. In the early decades, the Labour Council built campaigns for better working conditions and vital public services. During the Great Depression, social improvement was the constant focus of campaigns. After the Second World War, the Toronto Joint Labour Committee for Human Rights was formed. It led a relentless campaign against racist practices by employers, landlords, and businesses. The turbulent 60s and 70s saw the rise of health and safety activism and a women's movement for equality. Free trade deals set the stage for massive job loss. Unions mobilized, building alliances and a powerful resistance movement that featured a full general strike, the Metro Days of Action, in October 1996. Working people in Toronto and York Region have come a long way since 1871. The gains we have won through collective bargaining and political campaigns could hardly have been dreamed by those who started 150 years ago.
Let's go, let's sing! You're the rebel girl, you're the rebel girl. To the working class, you're a precious world.
For the loser now will be later to win. For the times they are a-changing.
Flipping burgers with a bachelor's degree, serve it to you on my master's, what's the matter to me? Call me a millennial, Facebook status, Instagram addict, PlayStation, Xbox having. You tell me get a job, okay, where's the job?
I take this hammer, carry it to the captain.
Now is the time for us to be free.
And people just kept coming and coming and coming.
They were up in trees. They were hanging off signs. They were everywhere.
Only Black people could be sleeping car porters. Once you were hired as a sleeping car porter, you could not achieve any other position.
The celebration was not only to honor our past, but what we're doing now and in the future. Because as we saw in our anniversary year, a fighting labor movement matters more than ever.
This cavalcade is taking place
during the 150th anniversary of the Toronto and York Region Labour Council. Congratulations! The Canadian Labour Movement can justly claim the title of originator of Labor Day, and the precursor to the Toronto and York Region Labour Council organized the first North American working people's demonstration of any significance on April the 15th in 1872.
Thank you very much, friends.
That's what you are. You're a teacher, and you taught us well. Thank you. I hope, as I take on this torch, that I can do as good as you did, and also to lead the best way I can with the work and your mentorship over the years. Thank you.
Our duty to every single working person in this region requires us to prepare for a level of militancy and vigilance in the workplace.
COVID has highlighted the social, economic, racial, and other inequality that existed long before this pandemic.
March of 2020 saw a complete shutdown of the live entertainment industry.
Good evening, sisters and brothers. My thanks to President Babington and your executive.
Some
for
of
the
our
invitation to
members
speak
passed
this
away
evening.
because of COVID. Others has long-term health issues and cannot work anymore.
They came with 64 concessions that they wanted.
When healthcare workers demanded that they get the proper protection, the proper pay for the sacrifice that they've made, it still goes unanswered.
They're doing the work of an extra 32 people in the middle of a pandemic while the management is still getting bonuses.
What do we want? When do we want it? When do we want it?
Nothing short of full and equal rights for gig workers will give them the protection they need.
An astronomical number of women left the workforce because they are home caring for their children.
The Ministry of Education's announcement in May that online remote learning will become a permanent part of our system.
We're dealing with online learning in ways we never anticipated.
The virus forced us to recognize we cannot have 40 years of government cuts, budget freezes, and underinvestments without serious consequences.
Those who will be hardest hit and left behind by climate change will be those who have been hurt and left behind by COVID.
After the climate.
Racial tension, anti-black racism.
The nooses being found on our construction site, the Declaration of Inclusive Workplace condemn the acts of racism.
Supremacy has been around in Canada for many centuries, and using COVID right now to show up again.
We've got a journey to build a better Canada, a better world. We do it shoulder to shoulder. We do it by confronting the reality of how this country was built and saying we're going to build it better together. We saw a group of angry Canadians take to the streets in trucks and shut down city after city, occupied in Ottawa.
It was led by people who have taken on the ideology of the far right. It is Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, anti-LGBTQ, anti-woman, and anti-worker.
But one thing I know as labor unionists, we know how to pivot and persevere.
Our Labor Council was formed 150 years ago by immigrant workers who were realizing that if they didn't have a strong collective voice, they would never get justice.
A good world, a world that provides dignity and respect to all, is possible if we come together and use the collective power that's ours. We will push for government accountability. Together, we will fight for social, economic, racial, and climate justice. Keep standing, keep going forward. Who got the power? We got the power! Who got the power? We got the power!
Together, we can find collective voice and fight for a better world. And together, we will build the power of people to win.
Thank you. So as we wrap up the 150th year and heading on into a 151st, we're not closing that chapter. We're going to, later this year, we're going to release commemorative book on our 150th anniversary. And so we're going to keep you posted on the event that we're planning for that. We're just taking things a little bit step at a time. Okay, all right. So yes, so we'll keep you posted when it's time to launch the book. And as I said, it's another chapter. The struggles, the victories, we have them all. So let us keep pressing on for the next 150 years to come. Okay, thank you. Next, I'm gonna call on speakers, a few speakers from different sector to talk a little bit about the challenge that we have right now. What as the Ford government, let me put it this way. So this challenge that we're facing right now, we all know a name that it's so hard to even come out of our mouth. And we know that there's a date coming up that we can also put an end to that as well. But I want to hear from some of you on what has the Ford government meant for your sector. Yeah, you know, I saw a lot of you, even though the weather was a little bit crappy, as I always say, we take our fight on in the worst of weather. And May Day, a lot of you came out to Queen's Park and to different locations to stand up and to speak out. You have your signs with you. And we heard from a lot of folks speaking out about the damages that this Ford government has done for workers, for parents, for seniors, for the BIPOC community. We heard from you, and we are asking delegates from specific sector to share a little bit about the Ford government, what that meant for them for the last 4 years. I will ask Sister Vanessa Stobie, if you're here from OSSTF, to give us a short version of it, of the impact of Ford, what that meant for your union.
Thank you so much, President Andrea. And I want to say, I know I said this a while ago, but congratulations. I'm so proud to stand beside you in what you've done in the last year. So, I mean, where do I start? I mean, it's 4 years and just keeps to seep into the hearts of all ed workers and teachers. What has Ford done? So I am actually a secondary teacher and I work in York Region. In terms of what he's done from 2018 to now is the longest list. I tried to think what to say and what to bring to you here. What I can say is what this government is doing is breaking public education up piece at a time, painfully piece at a time, and creating a private system. I mean, from the get-go, cutting jobs, he almost cut a quarter of all ed worker and teacher jobs. If it wasn't for the fight back and for the solidarity we had here from end of 2018 to 2020, the beginning of the pandemic, we would not have been able to keep a quarter of our jobs across the province. That's one big thing. The other piece is, what has he done for us in terms of cutting from the most vulnerable in our system? I've talked to so many across the province and how shameful it is that he cuts from people in, for example, the autistic program, special ed programs, gone beyond that, the Black Indigenous programs that have been faltered and gone and dashed aside for the people who need it the most, not to say mental health and well-being supports. That doesn't exist in our schools at all. Need we look further to how our schools have been the most in the province affected by COVID, and not the province, sorry, the nation affected by COVID? We opened and closed the most. There was no direction, absolutely none. And to say the worst, didn't even give us the protections we needed, the proper masks, proper ventilation, and even the ability for people to have the time that they needed to even have breaks. And that's what I hear from my members. It is 24/7 work. And then I want to end with this part, which I don't know how many people know about, but the online and the privatization of education, online teaching. Having a teacher teach a class, and it's called hybrid learning, and ed workers do the same with somebody on the screen and somebody in the class. Shameful in every way possible, something in which we also had to fight back in the middle of COVID. And so I want to bring this to you, not that he has only devastated things across our province, but he's on a mission to really remove public education, which is the most fair and equitable way for many of our students to move ahead and to move ahead in the future. So I want to say on June 2nd, you know what, before that, I'm ready to vote him right out, all of them, vote them right out. I know you'll stand there with me.
Thank you. All right, so our next speaker that know very well about the impact, but again, to share it one more time for this meeting, I'm going to ask DJ to speak on the healthcare sector.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. My name is DJ Sanderson, and I'm a very proud registered nurse and the Region 3 Vice President for the Ontario Nurses Association. We represent over 68,000 frontline nurses and healthcare professionals and over 18,000 nursing students. And I want to thank the Labour Council for the opportunity to speak here tonight. It's an important meeting about letting everyone know how the Ford government has impacted the healthcare sector. To be blunt, this Ford majority government has been a complete disaster. All you need to do is look around and see the devastation this government has caused for our patients, residents, and our clients. When Ford took office in 2018, ONA had reached out to him many, many times in hopes of meeting, discussing the challenges, to offer any sort of counsel, anything at all, just so that he became familiar with nurses and our ONA members and the integral role we play in the healthcare system. We were ignored repeatedly. There's an endless list of Ford healthcare cuts that came very swiftly since he took office. 500 million cut from OHIP services, including procedures in diabetes, pain management, and colonoscopies. Cut more than $500 million in public health funding, scrapped funding for stem cell research, and much, much more. And this was even before the pandemic, which brought on a catastrophe at a global scale. I won't go into too much detail about how healthcare has suffered over the last few years, as it would take up your entire evening. We've all had to live through it all. We all know what's happened. But for Ontarians, it's meant canceled surgeries and procedures, many of which have never been rescheduled. It meant less care for residents, clients in long-term care, homes, and in our communities. It meant that there was much needed for funding, and there was so much unneeded suffering. I truly believe that Ford's attention to act to work swiftly in the early days of the pandemic made Ontario so much worse off than other provinces, and clearly by the outcomes we experienced. More than 12,000 Ontarians have died, including far too many people in our broken healthcare system. More than 1.3 million Ontarians became infected with COVID, a tragedy unto itself. And of course, Ford's policies absolutely decimated Ontario's nurses and healthcare workers. They're overworked, burnt out, constantly fearful that our patients, residents, and clients are simply not getting the care they need and deserve. How did Ford reward healthcare workers' tireless efforts during the last 4 years? With bills 124, 175, and 195. By taking away our right to freely bargain, by taking away our schedules so that we were unable to get much needed time off away from the bedside to recharge, by denying nurses the healthcare and healthcare workers potentially life-saving PPE because it had to be locked up, like my friend said just a few minutes ago. No wonder we are seeing thousands of nurses and healthcare professionals leave the profession altogether. Why? Because it's impossible the working conditions, and by Ford's complete disrespect. It's not right, nor is it fair. Ford is attempting to pit worker against worker. And I can confidently say, Ford has failed us. He has failed all of us. More than he has failed us, he's failed our patients, residents, and clients. But he's also failed to demean us. He's also failed to keep us quiet. I go back to the original question posed to me. What has the Ford government meant for our sector? The Ford government has devastated our public healthcare system. And make no mistake, if he is reelected, he will continue to cut, privatize, and attack workers. Thank you so much for your time tonight and allowing me to speak.
Thank you very much. Susan, can you roll the short video?
Doug Ford has made plans to privatize our public hospitals' services unless we stop him. He's trying to do to our hospitals what he did to long-term care. The for-profit long-term care chains have each taken tens of millions of dollars per month from our public money and residents' fees. At the same time, they've left their frail, vulnerable residents lonely, without staff, basic care, or dignity. Ontario's for-profit long-term care corporations have taken their profits even while their residents died of dehydration, starvation, and neglect. We must end for-profit long-term care now and never allow Ford or any other government to do this to our public hospitals. This June 2nd in the Ontario election, vote public health care.
Okay, so that video is from the Ontario Health Care Coalition. And our next speaker on manufacturing is Roopchan Doon from United Steelworker. Over to you, Roop. Is he here?
I don't believe so. I can't find him, but I think Blair is ready to speak. Am I mistaken?
No. So Blair, go ahead.
Evening, comrades. I'm Blair Gallant, Local 30 Sheet Metal. I'm not a rep there, but I can speak about, as many of us can, all the things that Ford has done to us over the years, and the building trades, and in specific with Bill 66 and giving the power to so many of our contractors at the school boards, universities, the municipalities, the right to tear up our contracts immediately, deem them as non-construction employers, and so that affects all the building trades. And some of them, like the City of Toronto, decided not to opt into the Bill 66. Other ones, like the University of Toronto, decided to hold that in their pocket so that anytime they can tear up our contracts, anytime they deem it fit. But the big one really for us, I would say, would be the OCOT, the Ontario College of Trades. And pretty much being, since the day Ford came in, being useless and not there. There's been training and zero enforcement in the skilled trades now with I think there's 24 licensed trades in Ontario, certified licensed trades. And in 2015 and 16, there was over 4,200 people that were in contravention. So they go out, you have your auto mechanic, a sheet metal mechanic, a plumber, electrician that are registered with College of Trades as apprentices or journey people. And now you have the people that are working in these trades. They're unlicensed, they have no knowledge, and they're just hired by the contractors. And we used to have enforcement through the College of Trades that would go out, and there'd be contravention, there'd be a stoppage of work and looked into. Now you have no idea who's coming into your house or your building to do the work. There's no enforcement whatsoever. There's been zero enforcement since Doug Ford took place. Our reps and many other the building trades were probably on the phone with the Ontario College of Trades on a regular basis, daily, weekly, monthly, trying to have a lot of this enforcement to make sure that all the work being done by the building trades was done properly by qualified members. And again, like I say, you wipe that out. You don't know who's doing work. There's no, I shouldn't say you don't know who's doing it. There's no enforcement to make sure that people are qualified and licensed in Ontario anymore. Thank you, sister.
Okay, thank you. Is there a speaker for USW, or should we move on?
Well, it's Carolyn here. I just was in touch with Roop. He's trying to get into the meeting. I don't know what the problem is. I hope he gets in a moment. Maybe if you want to move on for a bit and we can come back to him.
Okay, so thank you, Carolyn. So what we can do, hopefully he gets on. I don't know if Jennifer or Susan can assist in the meantime. Yeah. I see Bill, you have your hand up in the meantime. Go ahead quickly.
I don't know if many people remember, the building has a very tough time when the New Democratic Party was government in this province. The New Democrats at that time decided to build Highway 407. They put many construction workers to work, not just to build the highways, but all the buildings that were going to be built alongside the highway. If you drive on it now, if you financially can, you'll see all the buildings that have been built along 407, which put all the building trades to work for many years. The problem was that the Conservatives sold it. That when they sold that the income that was going to come from it to pay for it was going to support the provincial government for many years. Now, it's not ours, and we can't even regulate the price using that highway anymore. It's a sad thing when the government turned around, the Conservative government turned around and sold the whole damn thing after licensed trades built that highway. And now we're suffering because we all financially can't use it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we also have our speakers here that I'm sure will address some of these issues. We have a statement before us as well that I see another hand that's up that we're gonna open for anyone that would like to debate that statement. And I hope you also got a chance to read the statement. It's called the real cost of open for business. So yes, so it's up on the screen there. And I would say opening for business, we see that everywhere when Ford came out with that. Since Ford got elected, that also shows us what a real cost would be, all along. So what does that mean, open for business, in when Ford said it and where we're at this point? So it's up, and I'm going to open it up a little bit more for anyone else that would like to debate this statement. Susan, you have your hand up? Okay, sorry.
Roop, it has apparently arrived.
Okay.
Steel workers.
Hi, Roop. Sorry for whatever difficulty you had there, and unfortunately you're on and we're putting you on the spot. So I'm going to turn it over to you to talk a little bit about your sector and what Ford has done and meant for your sector. You're on mute, Susan. Roop? Okay, I can see you.
To Roop Doon from the United Steelworkers to talk about the impact on your sector of the Ford government.
It says that he is connecting to audio and cannot hear you yet.
Oh,
so maybe
okay, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he still connecting? Because we could still open.
Should we, he is still connecting. Do you want me to share the statement on the screen, or do you want to go bring it to a vote and we can hear from Ruth after?
I thought someone had their hand up before when Bill was speaking, so I'm not missing anyone. Okay, is that Bowen? Over to you.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what Blair was saying. Maybe a lot of construction that's being built, I think, since Ford came in, for sure. I mean, it wasn't perfect with the Liberals, but that enforcement arm, I guess would be called that, from the College of Trades. Like, some trades are certified qualified, which ours is, and it's gotten way worse since he came in because there's no enforcement. So there's companies, and I'm just saying it, they're all non-union, that are building our long-term cares, our schools, which schools wasn't too good before this party here, but no one's qualified. So no one's licensed, no one's registered. I just wanted to share that with maybe, some people not in construction don't know that, they just see it being built, but it's a serious thing. And I think that was one of the first things he did to attack us anyway. And that's all I wanted to share.
Okay, thank you. Is Ruth okay now?
No, I think he's still connecting to audio.
Okay, so can you share this statement, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Please. So this statement was also sent out to you earlier. I hope you also got to read it, so it's not rushed. Okay, and in the meantime, it's up. Janice, your hand is up.
Thank you, President. I just wanted to let people be aware of the LCBO and what Ford's done to, further his agenda of privatization. So with respects to the 7-Eleven, he's, made a backdoor deal with the corporations down in Texas. He's made it very difficult for members to put in a defense against it. I think the OLGA, or the Ontario Gaming and Alcohol Commission, they're very very kind to listen to your objection at the first hearing. If you want to go further, they require a lawyer and all the documentation, which people just don't have time for. So he's also made licensees available to sell alcohol. There's all kinds of bottle shops that have sprung up. He did, in the beginning, he broke the contract with the brewers so that the grocery stores and big box stores could sell beer, and that cost millions, maybe $1 billion. So and he's put up more LCOs. So please shop LCBO. The money stays in the province. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Roop, are you okay now? All right. Okay, can you say something? Let me hear if you're, hello, Roop? Roop?
Tell them to take the mute off.
His audio is connected. Maybe his volume is down. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Okay, so okay, so we do one more test and then we have to ask for a motion here. Roop?
I think he's left the meeting.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna ask for someone to move and second the motion for the statement. I see Das and I see Blair. So then we'll put the poll up to vote on it, on the statement. Okay, thank you. All right, so as we go into, we start off with our speakers. Just to acknowledge again, we have Peter Tobin that's here with us that will speak to us, and I believe we also have Sister Felicia who's with us, and who else is here? I'm not sure who else. If you put your hand up, then we are able to acknowledge you. If any other candidate that's here. Okay, I see Chris Robert. Who else? Sorry, my screen. Let me go back.
You mean for speaking tonight?
No, I'm just letting everyone know who's here. So, okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And yeah, and that. So we have another a video that we need to share for Betila Karpoch. She's a candidate from Parkdale High Park. And I know everyone is busy hitting the trail, and so she sent her remarks on a video for us.
Hello, Toronto and York Region Labour Council delegates. I'm Petula Karpoche, the NDP candidate for Parkdale High Park running for re-election. Thank you so much for inviting me to share a few words with you today. I want to begin by sharing a story with you, a personal story. When I first came to Canada, I worked as a pickup laborer. I would wait in the parking lot of a McDonald's, and every day a van would come and pick us up to take us to a factory to work in Mississauga. The job didn't have any benefits, no paid sick days. I didn't get equal pay as many other workers in the same plant. No protections, no security. 20 years later, workers across this province are fighting for the same demands. As the NDP MPP for Parkdale High Park, I have worked alongside workers in my riding and across this province. I have pushed hard for paid sick days, permanent paid sick days. I've pushed hard to increase our minimum wages, to end worker misclassification for gig workers. As the critic for early learning and childcare, I put forward bills to ensure that childcare workers are consulted and childcare workers inform the government in terms of the strategy that we need to move forward to strengthen our public childcare system. I've also tabled legislation such as the No Time to Waste Act, which would center creating good green jobs as our path out of the climate crisis. One of the victories that we have had in Parkdale High Park is that we were able to save the Ontario Food Terminal from closures and protecting hundreds of local jobs. When the Ontario Food Terminal was threatened with closures, we worked alongside Ontario Food Terminal workers, with local small businesses, with community residents to build a campaign to stop the sale of the public lands and to keep the Ontario Food Terminal open for the workers here in our riding. We also managed to successfully push the government to designate the Ontario Food Terminal as a provincially significant employment zone. This is what a strong NDP representation looks like on the ground in our communities. Just imagine what a strong and ready NDP government will deliver for this province. A government that works for you, a government that works for us. We've all experienced the impact of a Conservative Ford government. Workers have been attacked for the last 4 years. But the Liberals are not the answer either. They had 15 years to deliver for workers, and they made all sorts of promises, but they let us down again and again. In fact, in the final days of the last election campaign, they attacked the NDP because of our position to support workers who were striking. There is a lot at stake this election, and only an NDP government will deliver for workers. From our sign crew to our canvassing teams, our campaigns are powered by workers like yourself. So if you want to elect a pro-worker government and build a strong, fair, and just Ontario, then join us.
Okay, thank you. That's right. So I hope we're listening to the call, and everyone get out there and let us do the job. Okay, our next speaker is an NDP candidate for Spadina, Fort York, and he has represented this riding for the last 4 years. And he's a former Toronto District School Board trustee and also a member of the Toronto Board of Health. Let us welcome Chris. Chris, welcome.
Andrea, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me and for having all of us from the NDP candidates who are on the call, and I want to say, hello to all of the NDP supporters out there in the Labour Council. Let's see, I watched the video, the historical video, and it rings true to me. I'm from Oshawa. Everybody in my family, going back 5 generations, worked at General Motors. My brother was one of the last 300 workers in the plant when they shut down the lines a few years ago. My great-grandfather was there when they were converted from building cars or building horse carriages to building cars. And there was an important historical moment in 1937. My grandfather and my great-grandfather worked at General Motors, and they lived in deep, deep poverty. And in 1937, my grandfather was the 4th person to sign a union card to join what was then the United Auto Workers. And then all of a sudden the workers went, the wages went from poverty wages to middle-class wages. And I am the beneficiary of that. Like my generation of blue collar workers, because our parents, our fathers, our mothers were unionized and working in unionized factories, we got the benefit of having a decent income and a decent upbringing. And at the time we could also afford, like I was the first in my generation to go to university, and it was affordable back then. And we need to get back to that kind of progressive policies, because what happened when the Liberals were in and the Conservatives were in and our unionized and the free trade agreement, we lost a lot of our industrial capacity and we converted to a service economy. And that service economy, not enough workers are unionized yet. We need to continue to organize the service economy workers, and we need to bring them up to a decent standard of living so that they have middle income wages, just like the industrial workers did, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Let's see, I won't go into the litany. We heard from a number of you about just how horrific the Conservative government's been over the last 4 years. It's absolutely disgusting what they've done. Bill 124 is one thing that comes to mind. And before that, it was actually modeled on the Liberal Bill 115, which also stripped workers of the right to collective bargaining. It was found at the Supreme Court that that Liberal Bill was a violation of our charter rights to collective bargaining, and it was overturned, and the Ontario government ended up paying $100 million in penalties to the education workers of this province. We don't need another Liberal government. We got to get rid of this Conservative government because of all the attacks that they're making on our public education system, our public healthcare system, all the ways that they're undermining our unions and our skilled trades workers. And we need to actually bring an end to this. So I'm actually calling you from my campaign office. We've just been out canvassing and we're working here. We're into the wee hours. We could really use your support. You know, it's a tight fight, you know, in downtown Toronto, and we really need to hold these seats for the NDP. So if you've got a couple of hours between now and June 2nd, if you could come out, help with the sign crew, help with the canvassing, make some phone calls for us, please join in. It would be wonderful to have you here. And thank you to the Labour Council. Thank you for everybody for having us here. And I'll just say one other thing. There's also, I want to give a shout out to some QPE locals. I was a member of 3902 at your University of Toronto. I was a member of York University, and I also helped to organize the night school teachers when I was part of 4400. So thank you everybody for being here. And oh, one more thing, last word. Saturday, 1:30, my open house at the campaign office, 553 Queen Street West. Come on down, we've got live music. Our guest speaker is Nana Condé, the first Black woman to be a minister in a Canadian government. So Saturday, 1:30, 553 Queen Street West. Hope you can make it.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Chris Glover. And I see in the chat here where USW is saying to you that they're calling all their members in your riding.
Awesome.
So
Thank
just
you
to
so
let you
much.
know that. All right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Obrigado.
Okay, our next speaker, he is no stranger to the Labour Council. He has attended our delegates meeting so many times. Sometimes I'm looking over wondering if it's just a lookalike we have here. That's how much he's here. He's one of our regular guests again, you know, and I'd say he even attended many of our committee meetings when he was the opposition critic for various portfolio like education, like climate change. Peter Tobin has represented the riding of Toronto Danforth for many terms, and he is once again running as the NDP candidate for that riding. Everyone, please welcome Peter Tobin, our friend Peter Tobin. Welcome. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you. Thanks. Good evening, sisters and brothers. And my thanks to you, President Babington, and your executive for the invitation to speak this evening. I also want to congratulate you on your 150th anniversary. We don't do enough to celebrate these kind of milestones. And let's face it, 150 years just proves how strong and essential our movement really is. And it truly is my pleasure to be here, just as it's my pleasure to be part of meetings throughout the years, listening to what people have to say, taking part in, observing how the labor movement makes decisions and defends working people. As many of you know, I've been working with the Toronto York Region Labour Council my entire political career, and that's because we believe in the same things. I grew up in a heavily unionized community, and fighting to have people be part of a union was just part of my life. In the 1970s, I worked with the CLC, organizing their white collar organizing drive. I was a Toronto City Councillor in the 90s, so I know how important your work is in electing strong, progressive members to Toronto City Council. In fact, I'd suggest there is no more important endorsement for municipal candidates in this city than one from this Labour Council, and I know you're already getting ready for the fall. During my time at City Hall, I supported QP Local 79 and 416 in their fights against contracting out and for decent wages and benefits. I stood up for the Fair Wage Office. I was out on picket lines to support working people and did the same with Days of Action against Mike Harris. I was proud to have your support throughout my time at City Council, and I've been so proud to have your support during my time at Queen's Park. As an MPP, I have emphatically opposed anti-labor legislation. I've joined picket lines, supported organizing drives, and been with many of you as you fought back against regressive, liberal, and conservative actions. You are my friends, you're my allies. I'm proud to march with you and fight alongside you. And that brings me to this election. You all know what is at stake, and my colleagues Butilla and Chris have spoken about this. Doug Ford has not been and will not be a friend of labor. He's proven this with his attacks on minimum wage, his callous refusal to provide paid sick time in the heart of the pandemic, his complete lack of movement on card check certification, not to mention his blatant anti-labor legislation like Bill 124. Doug Ford has made it very clear whose side he's on. And my friends, it's not our side. The Liberals have also shown that we can't trust them either. Stephen Del Duca is saying many of the right things these days. But I'll remind you that when he was in government and could actually do something for workers, it was his government, supported by the Conservatives, that passed Bill 115, which, as you will remember, was a direct attack on the collective bargaining rights of teachers and education workers in this province. The Liberals had 15 years to advance the rights of workers, and they didn't do it. Both parties have made it clear during campaigns, they talk about being friends of workers, but in practice, when they're in power, it is quite a different story. In the NDP, you know we've been standing up for working people and for unions. We'll continue to fight for anti-scab legislation, the expansion of card check certification, increasing the minimum wage, and changing WSIB so it actually looks after workers. So it actually looks after them, not treats them like a problem. We'll continue to march with you on picket lines, join you at labor rallies like the May Day rally this past Sunday, and we'll continue to stand by your side in all that you do. We're committed to fighting for you no matter how this election turns out. You know, we're ready to form government in this province, but we also know it's the voters who decide. No matter what they decide, we'll be fighting to ensure that working people have decent lives. We won't rest until people can get permanent work instead of being stuck with temporary and gig arrangements. We won't rest until every worker who wants to unionize has the support to do just that. My friends, I've been very proud that Toronto Danforth has had a progressive voice at Queen's Park for decades. I also know we would not have been able to do that without the support of the Labour Council, and I'm asking you once again for your help. Both the Liberals and Conservatives are running well-funded campaigns in this riding. The federal election showed us that we can take nothing for granted in the City of Toronto. At noon on Saturday, CLC Secretary Treasurer Lily Chang will be joining us for a Labour canvass at our office at 982 Danforth. That's just around the corner from Donland subway station. I know she used to sit around this table, and she's asked me to ask you to join her to help keep Toronto Danforth orange. I'm so proud to have the endorsements of OSSTF, Elementary Teachers of Toronto, as well as CUPE and the United Steelworkers. Together, we can build a better Ontario. Thank you. I hope to see you on Saturday.
Okay. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you. All right. So I also want to echo that again. As I mentioned, and for anyone I miss, I apologize, but I know we have Sister Felicia Samuel who's here with us tonight, and there's a lot of opening office and ready to roll that's happening the last few days and this weekend as well coming up. And I'm gonna again encourage all of you to get out there. We have, before we know it, this is not even a month anymore. We're less than a month now. And before we know it, it's done. So let us go out there, organize others, partner up with others to go out to these local campaigns and do whatever you can to make sure that we don't bring back Ford in our house with us. It's time, June 2nd, he's gone. He shouldn't be following you home. So we gotta do the job. Anything that you can do, let them know. If you have free time that you can help to put up signs, this is the time to to let them know. If you put something in the chat for them, we can share that, but please feel free. They have an office where you can drop in and see what help you can give to them. The door-to-door canvassing, phone banking, there's lots of things out there that you can do to help them to get through this. We can't afford them to whittle down our candidates that's out there, and for the new ones that's coming up, I want to take this on. So get ready, put it in your date book and let us go. We don't have 4 weeks anymore. It's down now, so we gotta do the job. Thanks again. Okay, so we as we talk about this, yes, we have to also look at
Sister Andrea, can I just have a quick point of personal privilege, please?
Sure.
Thank you. So good evening, everybody. My name is Felicia Samuel. Chris was welcoming me, but really I've been coming to Labor Council meetings pretty much every month for the past 12 years. So Chris, this is my family. I'm always here. And I want to thank my family for how you've shown up for me. I have to do this right now. So earlier today we had Rima, who came last month. She was out canvassing with me. So I cut my canvas a little short so that I could be with you all a final time before E-Day. And I have to tell you, I feel so good about this campaign. And I just wanted to thank you all for showing up. So big shout out to UFCW for giving me my amazing campaign manager, Tanya Liu. ATU, my ATU 113 fam, they've been amazing and killing it with the signs. And talking about getting help putting up signs, we're definitely gaining momentum because less than 24 hours after my people had put up my signs, the competition was tearing them down. They threw them down, they ripped a few. So we're doing something good out here. So I'm excited. QP 4948, IBW, OSSTF, my ETT fam. And I also have commitments from QP and I'm SEIU. So I'm really, really excited. Thank you so much. We had our office opening last weekend. We're at 91 Rylander. And this Sunday, Jagmeet's coming through to do a little Mother's Day canvas with us. So if you'd like to join us in Scarborough Rouge Park, please do so. And that's it. I just wanted to say thank you for showing up. And I look forward to seeing the rest of you. Like I said, you all are family to me. And I'm happy about this campaign. I have a great team. And I'm so appreciative of all of you. Thank you so, so much.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Felicia. All right. So yes, as we talk about the challenges and why we need to vote, we can't leave climate action and that. So we have a speaker here, Lynne Adams. She's here to talk to us a bit about the May 14th rally that's coming up. And I'm going to turn over to Lynne.
Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. A past member of QP and glad to be with you tonight. And congrats on the 150th anniversary. That's great. I'm here to ask you all for your support to stand up for a living future for our province with green jobs, well-paying jobs in a low carbon economy. We know that we must ensure that our temperature does not rise above more than 1.5 degrees above what it has been in the past. And we're headed to 3 degrees, 4 degrees. We are not going in the right direction. So we need our province to change direction. And that means cutting our emissions 50% by 2030. Doug Ford is not making those emission cuts. He's slashed the environmental commissioner. He's building highways and he's paving over farmlands and wetlands and taking planning decisions away from local authorities, including conservation authorities that can help prevent flooding and a lot of the effects that we will get with a more unstable climate, which is where we're going. And we standing together can really make a difference to a healthier future. I don't know how many of you know that the doctors are involved in our campaign, the Ontario Climate Emergency Campaign. That's the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment. They're just working overtime with us. I'm one of the co-chairs with them because they know that the climate crisis is the most serious threat to our health in the 21st century. Respiratory illness and heat deaths like we saw in BC, fires and floods. It's really not a good future. And Doug Ford is in denial about it. So we need to elect a government that will take the action we need. So please support the Ontario Climate Emergency Campaign. I know Yes, there's the rally on May 14th. Please come. It's going to be fantastic. And Andrea is headlining our post-March rally. So we have a rally from 1 to 2, a march from 2 to 2:45 or so, come back to music. And Andrea is going to be speaking at 3 o'clock. And we're very excited about bringing together the work on climate that so many of us are doing with the work on labor and with workers, because we're only going to get there if we're united, and we're only going to get there if we have a more just society. And that's what we're all working on building together. And when you get the appeal, we're really pleased to have the Labour Council's support on the Ontario Climate Emergency Campaign. And when you get the pitch to send a letter to your candidates about our 12-point action plan, please do that so that we can send a message to all the candidates and then vote for the candidates that best for your future.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lynn.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yes, May 14th, we hope to see you there. We gotta take on all these fights. All right. Okay, and I'm gonna ask Sister Judith Logan to update us on Bromley.
Can I just say one thing before I go? Is it was fantastic to hear from Peter, Chris, and Felicia too, and candidates that are and Butila, who've been working really hard on climate action in the provincial legislature. So big thank you to them for speaking tonight as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Sister Judith.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. My name is Judith Logan Junior. I'm on the executive of the Labour Council, Labour Council Services, and I'm here tonight to promote the Bromley Lloyd Armstrong Awards Gala. This is the 17th annual Bromley Lloyd Armstrong Awards Gala, and it will be taking place virtually on June the 8th, 2022, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., and everyone is invited. The annual event is co-hosted by the Toronto and York Region Labour Council's Equity Committee and Labour Community Services, and recognizes the contributions of Labour and community activists and unions who are leading in the footsteps of the late Bromley Lloyd Armstrong. Bromley was a committed union activist and community leader who took every opportunity to improve conditions for workers in every industry. Since 2005, Labour activists have been awarded the prestigious award. For the first time last year, the addition of presenting a union with the award was given to SEIU Healthcare. Award nominations are being accepted until May 16th, and forms can be found at www.labourcommunityservice.ca/2022 Bromley Gala, and the information is also included in our e-blast. As part of the program, the Gala has also taken this time to present individuals with special recognitions. There will also be a moderated panel addressing this year's theme, which is Our Moment, Our Movement, Entertainment and Raffle Prizes. We invite you to be part of this annual celebration. Your support and sponsorship helps Labour Community Services work all year round in addressing social justice issues, and acknowledge the contributions of individual union activists and unions that are working to make this a just and equitable society for all. Please visit the LCS website for full details, or get in contact with the LCS team at info@labourcommunityservices.ca. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you on June the 8th.
Okay, thank you, Judith.
You're welcome.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to turn over to Skylar to share what's coming up for June 12th. Over to you, Skylar.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. So I just wanted to share with everyone here our training program that we've got for municipal elections, but really it's starting now. So for sure to take advantage of opportunities to get involved with provincial. So we have our municipal political action conference on June 12th. It's a full day in-person event taking place at the IBEW Hall. And I will share the link to that to register. Registration is now open. I hope to see folks out there from all unions, whether you have been involved before or you've been involved lots. It's a day to get inspired, to connect with other people who are like-minded, find campaigns to work on, build up your skills. And we'll be excited to see folks there. Registration is open now. We will have the workshop offerings to follow. There will be 3 workshop slots with lots of offerings. And then the second piece is that Labour Council is proud to sponsor Progress Toronto Spring Training Series. So it's a web-based training series. I will put that link in the chat as well. That's happening through May. There are 7 workshops. As I said, they're web-based and they're all free. They're open to community, and we were also really encouraging Labour folks to attend as well. The trainings do not duplicate what's offered at the conference, so for sure stack those together and build up your skills. The great thing about being able to attend the training series is that it's linked with the work that's happening on the ground in provincial campaigns. So you can go and learn about, for example, door knocking, one day, and then commit to go work on a campaign and get some on the ground experience and come back the following week and debrief it. And I will personally be co-facilitating one of the training sessions on getting out the vote. So hope to see people there. And there's, yeah, thanks Susan for putting that up. And yeah, if you have any questions about the conference, please email me. My email is included in the link. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So this is really good news, right? As you can see, we are doing as much as we can to make sure before we get to June 2nd, if anyone that need to tighten up on their skill for door knocking, getting the vote out, please look in the chat and take advantage of it. It's free. And then once June 2nd is over, we gotta get ready for the fall, and you'll see the information there for that next phase of it. So whatever tools we have, whatever we have to do, let's pull it out and get the job done. Thank you. Is there anyone from the Equity Committee doing report tonight?
Hi, yes, Andrea, I'm here.
Go ahead.
So just a few things. I guess a Bromley update was already sort of given, so I won't reiterate that, but please just go ahead and make sure that you purchase your tickets, and we want to see as many of you out there as possible. And the other thing that really came up was we did have a member of our committee, Ralph. He was featured for the May's Asian Heritage Month. So we just wanted to put that out there and let everybody know that Ralph, one of the committee members on the Equity Committee, was featured for that. And that's really it that I have for the Equity Committee this time around. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And our next presenter is Sister Heather Erlin, Ontario Regional Director, reporting on CLC.
Thank you so much, President Babington, and so good to see all of you tonight. I am in a campaign office, so here out on Ground Zero, supporting the election. And I just want to start off by saying, you know, what a way to start the election, and just having been together for Day of Mourning and for May Day. You know, in all of the speakers that we heard from those days, it's so clear what workers have gone through under this Ford government, and the banding together that we're doing now to see a different outcome. So we've heard from everybody for months leading up to this, and I just want to reiterate what's already been said by President Babington and countless others. is that the only way that we're going to win is for us to show up on these campaigns. So whether that's doing the door knocking or making the phone calls, getting out to volunteer, grabbing your guitar and going to a campaign office to help rejuvenate people's energy, all of it really matters to be on those doors while we're in the trenches of this campaign. And I know that people's spirits can get a little dampened when you're looking at the polls, but until June 2nd, nothing is said and done. So if we don't like what's in the polls, we have got to be the ones to change it. We heard from all of these workers and candidates tonight. They are from the labor movement. It is a party that was built by workers for workers to have an economy that doesn't serve the ultra rich, but serves what workers needs in a sustainable economy. So, you know, I have to comment on the leaked document with Roe versus Wade, and it is very clear that the Conservatives are alive and well in what they want to see for our rights, for human rights, for reproductive rights. And if we do not take a stand here in Canada as well, you know, we can see where their agenda is heading. And we also know that a lot of the pro-life or anti-choice groups support Conservatives right here in our backyard. So I hope that everyone here is angry with what they're seeing in the States, and that mobilizes you to get involved in a campaign, or whatever it is that mobilizes you to get out there, because it's going to take talking to our friends, talking to our family, getting them out on the doors for us to win. And I know that in the past, strategic voting has hurt us. We are going in as the NDP with 39 seats, and the Liberals only have 7. So if we want to take out the corrupt Conservatives, the NDP is the party to do that. So brothers, sisters, friends, siblings, I hope to see you out on the doors, on the phones, talking to your friends and family, making posts on social media. Please do look out on the Ontario Federation of Labor's social media and their website, because they'll be posting a large variety of labor canvases for us to get together and have big numbers for each of those labor canvases all over the province. And the CLC officers will be all across the province as well, helping in this fight. So just thank you for your commitment to this work, and I will see you on the doors.
Okay, thank you. All right. How much time can we say that we're getting all the details and it's time to roll? Thank you, Heather. Okay, any report for Labor Council's project? Okay. Any other reports? Sorry.
Andrea, I think Laura Thompson from the Women's Committee wants to make a report. I see her hand raised.
Okay, I was just getting to the committee report. Okay, go ahead, Laura. Sorry, I missed you somewhere there.
All good. Thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Jennifer. Hi, folks. Laura Thompson, OPSU Local 503, pronouns she, her. Yeah, so I mean, a quick report from the Women's Committee is at our committee meeting earlier today. We were fortunate to have a couple of guests join us. One was Union Comrade Christy Pascas, speaking about the work that they've been doing in making what is sexual assault evaluation kits, which is more commonly known as rape kits, available in hospitals across Ontario. I think a number of us are under the assumption that these kits are, if you just walked into your hospital, these kits would be made available to any survivors, and they very much showed us how that's not the case, and the work they're doing there. So we'll put some of the social media in the chat for folks who want to learn more about these efforts and support these efforts as this goes forward. And then with that, we are also joined by Marcia Lopez from United Way to talk about Tampon Tuesday. And for those folks who, and there'll be a number of efforts to support that in terms of locations to donate pads, tampons, menstrual cups to support those people who menstruate, and also some petitions that'll be circulated as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So just to add to Camlin's report from the Equity Committee, and it's in the chat, you could take a look at it. There's a link there. Again, the work is continuing. So we know after the election, we still need to be gathering in different ways and talking about ways to take on these challenges. So we have the IWOC, Indigenous and Workers of Color Conference, that's scheduled for June 18. We're launching that next week as well. So stay tuned for the information on that. And I think it's going to be important for us after that election to really get together and make plan, and then get ourselves set the tone for the fall election as well. So you could go to the chat if you need more information on that. Thanks. Okay, and any unions report? Any union that would like to do report? It's your time. Just put your hand up and we can go.
All right. Sister Andrea, there's a comment in the chat that Roop is going to try to call in and speak under reports from unions.
Okay. Okay.
So we can watch for him in the waiting room.
Okay. So yes, and in the meantime, we're waiting for Roop. I'll fill in some of the blanks as well. So yeah, you could share in the chat what you're doing so far in terms of going out and volunteering. If you have ideas of things that we need to do to get others to go out and do that, you can put that in the chat. Yeah, like so the few days that's ahead of us, we can make it fun, and we can urgent, not just you that organizing to go out and support. Reach out to other co-workers, members. And I think one thing that we are missing out of this, while we're organizing in our own union, I remember knocking on some doors over the years for with election. And you knock on a door, and what's the weirdest thing you find? 5, 6 family members in there, and everybody voting differently. So no one have that conversation about what's at stake, and they're voting differently. So we gotta not just talk to our coworkers or our members, we got to encourage them to go back into their own household and have this conversation around the kitchen table about what's at stake and why we need to make sure that we're voting the right way. We can't be knocking doors and seeing our members saying, here's my husband, here's my wife, here's my daughter, and find that all of them is not even on the same sheet. Then that's not that we have a problem there. We're not talking to each other. Okay, is Roop on?
No, but Carolyn has her hand raised.
Carolyn, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I hope Roop does go on, but I just wanted to, United Steelworkers Local 8300, I wanted to thank Heather for bringing up the whole Roe v. Wade question. I think we all know it's south of the border, it's a different country, but whatever happens there has ramifications here. And I just want to say that we have been talking, Andrea's been leading the charge really against the rise of the far right in this city, I think, through Community Solidarity Toronto, and we saw the truckers convoy, et cetera. And I think that if we look back, the Canadian Hate Network put out an analysis, and it talked about how the far right is able to grasp onto whatever issue they think will most mobilize people for their ideology, even if people don't appreciate fully everything they stand for. And they talked about the Islamophobia and the anti-Muslim hatred that was being generated by the far right in this country in 2017. And then the whole yellow vest that we're going to Ottawa and all around the whole oil and gas question against climate change. And then, of course, the anti-vax mandate, which mobilized all of that, the truckers and all that we've seen, the motorcyclists, et cetera, last weekend or whatever. In the United States, they took a different tack. And what they did was they used the whole question of reproductive justice, a woman's right to choose, the right to abortion. This has been building and building and building and building for years. And we've seen the Supreme Court justices being appointed. We've seen state legislatures being taken over by far-right Republicans and passing legislation again and again. We've seen just the demonization of those who want to seek an abortion and control over our own bodies. And I think now we're seeing a horrific situation where Roe v. Wade may be overturned. It looks like it will. Hope to heaven it won't be. And you've got 13 legislatures already banning abortion. Another 12 have what they call trigger legislations, which will fall into place once Roe v. Wade goes down in June or July. Hope to heaven, as I say, it does not. That will mean half the United States will be not having abortions. And we know who that's going to affect, the most vulnerable, you know, women from Black communities, Hispanic communities, poor communities. And you see who's fighting. It's Sister Song, and women from these communities are in the headlines, rather than they're in the leadership here. And I just think this is a real warning for all of us here. You know, if we don't see the possibilities of the far right taking control. We're a different country, we have a different system, and maybe it's a different issue, but they will go for whatever issue they think people can mobilize around. And the horrible situation that's going to be facing people in the United States, and I swear to heaven, we're going to see the back street abortions, we're going to see those illegal abortions, and we're going to see people dying once again as they did, going back 50 years. So I just wanted to bring that to people's attention. And we'll obviously give all the solidarity we can for those fighting in the US, but man, oh man, this is just such a horrific situation of what can happen if we let our vigilance down. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. And Ruth, I am crossing my fingers now. Where are you, Ruth? We're holding it for you.
No, he didn't get in, I don't know.
I think he's here. I just, Ruth?
His video is here. I've asked him through the chat if he can hear us and haven't had a response. But it does look as though his audio has connected, but it may not actually be working for him.
Okay. All right, Ruth. Doesn't look like it's working. All right. So just to let everyone know again, we're not having our regular date for our delegates meeting for June. Our meeting going to be Tuesday, June 7th. That's right after the election. So we will see each other on the trail as we go out and volunteer. Best of luck, and let us go out, keep safe, and do whatever we have to do to make sure that we're coming back with a whole different conversation. My message to you: Ford can't follow you home June 2nd. June 3rd, he can't wake up in your household. Let us do what we have to do. Susan, your hand is up.
Yeah, I believe Roop has joined us by phone. I'm not certain about the extension of the meeting by a couple of minutes, Madam President, but I just wanted to let you know that he has arrived by phone.
Okay, Roop, you're on. Can you hear me, Roop? I don't think it's happening.
Okay, yeah, I see his phone number and I see the mute is off it, but I'm not sure that he's making the connection.
Roop? Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's happening, Roop. I'm so sorry. We are not able to hear you share your own piece, but it's still a date. We still have more conversation to have around this. So if it didn't happen tonight, for sure, we can have you back on the next meeting to talk a little bit more on that. So I'm gonna turn over to Skylar to close us off with Willie Nelson. Is that a music? Yep. So enjoy and let's get energized. And